Business with a servant's heart. Welcome to the podcast. Inspiration, motivation takes. Listen to the podcast. We're all about to talk about life. Our guests will share their life story. We want you to success in life and business. We're ready and we will start shortly. We're gonna talk about life. We're going to speak on business. You're gonna shine bright. We are going to witness. Business with a servant's heart. With hosts Steve, Ramon, and Ray. Inspiration, education talks. Listen to the podcast. Steve, Ramon.
Welcome, everyone, to Doing Business with a Servant's Heart podcast. I'm your host, Steve Ramona. I am so fired up to have you join us today. I've been talking to my guests, and I got two guests today. I always like two better than one, especially when they're an incredible couple. You're going to learn so much. You're going to be fired up. Now, we dedicate this podcast to exploring the idea of a servant's heart, using that purpose in your work and your life. And imagine the impact and difference you're going to make in people's lives. I get to do it every day on a podcast like today with my wonderful guest, or just get on a call or a Zoom with somebody. Imagine you guys doing that every day. Our guests are also going to motivate you, inspire you, and educate you with a servant's heart, or other ways to help you grow, and you can take those resources and give them to others. The other thing we're going to do is give you homework. Your audience, here's your homework. I want you to think about how you're going to serve yourself and serve others today, and what impact or difference you'll make today. And I say today because people get back to me and go, I waited a week. And how many people could you have impacted in 6 days? You could do this every day. And I'm not talking about giving $1 million to your church or 100,000 to your local charity. It could be just telling somebody they have a beautiful smile. Serve people, have that mindset, and you're going to be very happy. I want to thank our sponsor as well, Pantheon Alliance. Join a community of high-income entrepreneurs and business leaders to create a world-changing thought leader platform to impact and change your world and the world outside you. For more information, reach out to me, and we'll get you all set up. With that being said, impact and change and difference, I got a power couple here. They are doing things uniquely different, which I absolutely love, but their impact is massive. So let's welcome to the show, Kurt and Chris. Welcome.
Hello.
Wonderful to be here.
You know, he's already a great guy, letting the wife speak first. I'm already ready with this show. Jump in, both of you. Liberty Spenders. We see it. We got the book. We'll talk about it in a minute. What's it all about?
You know, Edelman does a survey every year. They're the world's largest PR firm. And every year they ask people, what do they consider when they're buying a product or service? And in the last several years, last decade really, the people are telling Edelman, 62% of Americans, frankly, that they've either bought or stopped buying a product because of the values of the company, not because of the quality of the product or the purpose of the service, but because of their values. And we believe that's perhaps one of the most important trends in today's market. We've been pursuing attention. When we think about marketing, we think about growing our business. We got to get eyeballs, eyeballs, eyeballs. And what people really want today is trust. And people trust other people who share their values. And so Liberty Spenders is about that segment of the American population, 76.5 million people exactly, who share Christian or politically conservative values and want to buy from companies who also represent those values. These people spend $5 trillion a year, and they're looking for you. And our book and our philosophy is all about teaching businesses how to market using a special method we call Conviction-Driven Marketing, leading with your values, leading with your convictions, because we already heard your consumer's already looking. You might as well put it out in front of them and build a tribe of true raving fans who love you because they're completely bought into who you are and what you stand for.
I love the raving fans. That's such a great acronym because it's true. When they're raving, your business will just go The other thing is it's not good to be seen anymore, Chris, but seen with value as a business. Talk about that. So that Facebook ad I see, and people are scrolling through their Facebook and I'm going to buy those shoes. But you guys are taking it to another level.
Well, it looks differently based on the company and the owner and what they're trying to get across. But yes, our argument is the premise that we're making is how do you differentiate in today's market? I mean, I feel like I've been a business owner for a long time and our background comes from politics. But my goodness, I mean, information's everywhere. There's a million choices. There's a million choices for your consumers. There's a million choices for you and how to market. And so what's one way to differentiate? And so conviction-driven marketing lets you be something to someone instead of just trying to appeal to everyone. And so to your point about seeing a random Facebook ad for a shoe, sure, you can talk about features and benefits, or you could target using demographics like a lot of what we call vanilla marketers will do. But how powerful could it be to build a story and a brand around what your company stands for and a bigger why? And what does that do to attract people to come to you who aren't just there because it's convenient or because they like this one feature and as soon as the competitor puts out something better, they're gone. This builds people who are more loyal. Again, they're more likely to refer you. They're more likely to stay your customer, rebuy from you. And so this is really our approach to help visionary business owners who really want to drive and add value and have impact look at marketing in a whole different way.
Visionary is a key word too, right, Kurt? And also too, it's a business can't just, because it's so unique and different. The business can go on Google and go, okay, I'm going to be a value-driven company and figure this out, because I kind of did that before you came on the show and I couldn't find anything. So talk about that, because you bring that great value to people.
Yeah. I mean, marketing with your convictions has to, at the very base of it, be authentic.
Mm-hmm.
You, as a business owner, as a business, what are those convictions? Now, we teach people to connect with their consumers on the point of political and faith convictions, which are very, we were all taught, Gen X, right? I was taught, let's not talk about faith.
It's very taboo.
Let's not talk about politics.
Yep.
But those are the convictions that people are most connected and passionate about. I am more passionate about my faith, more passionate about my politics than I am about whether or not I'm a fan of the Indianapolis Colts and whether or not we can ever get our quarterback to throw a decent pass. But I'm gonna be fickle in some of these areas, but I'm not. Most Americans don't change their faith and religious values or faith and political values lightly. And so this is where you want to connect. But those people, that tribe of people you're trying to connect to, they can smell a rat a million miles away, right? Because you're really looking for your tribe. So we're talking to people about identifying the convictions that you most align with. Now, to be authentic, we come from doing 20 years as a prominent marketing agency for Republican politicians. So who do we know best? Who are we most authentic with? Well, we're most authentic with conservative people and faith people, which is what our book is about, right? But you don't have to market with those convictions to make it work. But that's the group we know. That's 76.5 million people who really want to know that when they do business with you as a company, you're not turning around and giving money away to Planned Parenthood, or you're not profiting from gambling and pornography, and or that you're engaged in some sort of racist DEI policy. That's our tribe. They're going to smell it. So to your point, authenticity is key. You want to connect with the people who are your tribe, the folks that you want to hang out with.
Yeah. And it's interesting because you don't need everybody. I have a business. Right. You come help me. I don't need 6 million people. You give me 10,000 people, I'm probably doing quite well. Mm-hmm. So sticking to my convictions, you're still going to be very successful, right?
Yeah, it's interesting because when we first started doing this, the thought was, well, how many of these people are there, right? Which is why we did what political junkies and data people do, is we did a national survey and built a model. And it was surprising how big the audience was. So to your point, you don't need to reach everybody. This is plenty of fish in the sea. And for a lot of business people, it's great because it gives them a unique and thoughtful and long-lasting marketing strategy that's not the latest Facebook hack, LinkedIn growth hack, this thing, the other, that changes on a dime. This is something that you can completely build your brand around, build that loyal following. And by the way, the additional benefit of this is when we talk to business owners, they're more fulfilled. They feel more connected with the mission of their business. Their employees buy into the culture. And so there's just tremendous benefits from what we've been seeing.
You guys are geniuses, because purpose is talked about. Why is the big part of any business. If you don't have that, it's hard to be successful. You just built it in. You go, here's your why, here's your conviction, same, typically same word, and you massively grow. Now, I did some research, stalked you a little bit. I saw something called the Prospect Group. You started in 2006. Is it still going? If it is, that's 19 years. I want to learn more about this.
Yeah. So Prosper Group is our marketing agency. Liberty Spenders is our, we are the world's, expert in this segment of the population. And that's part of the service that we provide at our marketing agencies, helping people connect with these Liberty Spenders. And yeah, we started it in 2006, the two of us together, and we were both political junkies in college. That's how we met, and started a marketing agency that served politicians at the lowest level. We were doing little city council races and county council races, and then worked our way up so that by 2010 we were doing U.S. Senate campaigns and governors, and did our first presidential campaign in 2012, and in 2016 had the privilege of working with Donald Trump when he won, which was a very just almost unpredictable. I mean, even I probably would have bet sizable amounts of money that he wasn't going to win that race.
Absolutely.
And he did, and it was a great privilege to be hired by Brad Parscale and to work for his campaign. And so that's what we've been doing for really 18 out of the 19 years. And then a year ago, we were thoughtfully considering, we were praying about what do we want to do. And maybe the more honest assessment of that is God was dragging us a little bit into a new area. And we said, maybe for the first time in the history of the firm, let's go do some work for brands. Let's try to help businesses, because we love working for senators and governors and congressmen, the whole deal. But we got into it because we wanted to change the world. And we think, perhaps politics isn't the best or only place. There are a lot of business owners who are creating jobs, supporting their community, paying for college, doing all the great stuff good business owners do, and we want to support them too. So for the first time in our existence, Prosper Group started doing brand marketing, but we thought, what are we best in the world at? What's our superpower? And the answer was, we know how to talk to conservative and Christian people, because that's who our Republican political candidates want to talk to. In fact, mostly what we did for those political candidates, what we were, if we had a superpower of a superpower, was that we helped them raise small dollar contributions. So we did crowdfunding, and we've raised over $500 million for Republican political candidates in this time. It's probably approaching
600 million.
more like 600 million after this
Jeez.
cycle. We did almost $60 million for Trump in 2016, $38 million last year for Ted Cruz. And so we thought, we know how to talk to these people. We know how to get them to give money, which is they're not even getting any, direct value out of that. They're just giving money. So we know these same people who are donating to Donald Trump and Ted Cruz and Brian Kemp and Pete Ricketts. They also buy coffee and cars and cats and homes and we know how to talk to them. So it was a very long answer to your question, which was basically a yes or a no, but we that's now part of what we're doing, is we're taking all that knowledge and all those audiences and all that data that we built from politics that just nobody else has, and trying to bring it to the kind of conviction-driven Christian and conservative business owner who wants to really win with this crowd.
Yeah, and the other side too is faith-driven conservatives also own businesses. They're selling the cars, they're selling the apples, they're selling the software, they're selling all that. And that's where you guys come in. Honest, if you're out there thinking, I got a business and it's conservative, faith-driven, and you're not successful, I found two people that can help you.
Yeah.
Reach out.
Look at,
we'll get
yeah.
your contact information.
Yeah.
So agencies are tough. Being married, and you have kids.
We do.
Yeah.
Two
So
little toddlers. We're late to parenting.
so here's a I have no kids, so I'm really late, but that's okay. God gives me here for another reason. Talk about, and Chris, I want to come from you, the mothers that are running a business or part of a business, whether partner with their husband or with another female or male, and family life. How do you work that?
Well, it's an interesting question, and it's changed a little bit. We were blessed because we had our daughter Eliana during the COVID lockdown. So it was such a difficult time for so many people, and it was a beautiful time because I didn't have the distraction. I was home and enjoying, new mom bliss and everything. But I think for me, I'm still navigating it because it's still, still new. My daughter, our oldest, we have two, is only 4.5, and our other is almost 3. And so I do not have, all the answers by any stretch. But working with a spouse, we have found ways to divide and conquer. We know what each other's strengths are, and we support each other in that. And I think just like anything, we see our family, we take the same intentionality that we do with our business. So when we go and have planning meetings, we have planning meetings and retreats, and we talk about, okay, what's our mission and goal for this part of the children, and potty training, and what's this part of the education, and how are we going to instill these values, just like you would set a business plan for your business. And so that has helped, and it has helped. I mean, Kurt and I work together, but if we didn't, I would think that would be helpful to any woman in business who's trying to be on the same page with her spouse. And so that's really been helpful. And I think the other thing that's helpful is I know for me, becoming a parent late, I had all these fears and misconceptions because I was so driven by, career or making an impact. And I didn't feel like I had that maternal gene like other women that I knew, because I was always the hard charging, person making it happen in business. And boy, did I just unlocked like a whole new level of, happiness, joy, purpose, fulfillment. And as I embrace more of that, I'm able to let go of so many rules that I had for myself of what would make me successful or what would make me matter. And all of that is just noise and garbage, and it's not from God. It's totally from the devil that makes us think we have to achieve these things to be good enough. And so I think for a woman in business, for anyone, men deal with this as well. But feeling like you have to choose, or something else is gonna suffer. We've got to find a way to just wipe that garbage head trash, because there's nothing more important than, being a mother and feeling connected in that way. That doesn't mean you have to sacrifice something, but you sure shouldn't feel bad for dividing your attention. And there are ways to do it, but that's a big lesson that I've had to learn.
What an expert mother. Divide and conquer. I'm going to say it again. That's so well said, because I think a lot of people try, because work and life, whether you're couple working together or, Kurt had a job here, you had a job here, or own 2 different companies, it still spills over to life. There's no balance. I'm not a big fan of, hey, let's do work-life balance. It just doesn't balance.
I like work-life integration.
There's better.
I like that
I'm
better.
stealing that. No, Lord, I'm not
Well,
stealing it that way, but
another thing that's not ours, but we picked up from someone else, and I forget who, is they talked about when you need to travel or be away from your children, you can talk about what you're doing for the family business, how you're helping people, how you're helping your customers. And it gets them thinking about this mindset of, this is how we're adding value. We're being compensated because we're creating value. We're helping other people. And I think that's another way. If you're feeling guilty about traveling or being gone, bring them in, tell them what you're doing and how you're helping other people with this. And they're part of it. They're all part of the family business of serving other people.
You just served a whole lot of mothers that listen to this that are entrepreneurs and business owners. Thank you. We're coming to the end. What does it look like in the next 2 to 3 years with Liberty Spenders? What do you guys think will happen?
I think we're about to see, from a marketing perspective, an absolute upending of how smart companies look at acquiring customers, right? We have spent the last 50 years talking about attention, right? Let's interrupt people. Let's get their attention. Let's make a creative ad. Let's do a Super Bowl Doritos ad where somebody punches a baby. I mean, that kind of stuff, and it's all about getting eyeballs. And eyeballs are significantly less valuable because nobody trusts anything anymore. You turn on the television, you watch your cable news channel of choice. You're not even sure if you're getting the full story. You're not getting it from the other cable news channel. It's not your choice. And then you pull up the next news story. Maybe it's all AI generated. Then the video you watch could be a deep fake. Nobody trusts anything. And so trust is becoming a much more expensive but important commodity in the marketing space. And so we've got to start thinking less about eyeballs, less about, oh, how much reach did my ad get, or how cool and creative is it, if it's not building trust, if you're not earning trust with people. If you're not earning trust, you're getting nothing. Eyeballs are cheap. Trust is hard, incredibly hard in today's environment. So I think in the next 3 years, that's going to happen whether you're marketing to Liberty spenders or anybody.
Yeah.
But that's why thinking about marketing the way we're talking about it, marketing with convictions, is about creating trust. And so in the next 3 years, I think everybody ought to be looking at segments of the population like Liberty spenders. If you're a Christian or conservative business and share those convictions, starting to talk about that now is going to be key in developing relationships now, because content isn't trustworthy. And by the way, it's no longer valuable because you can just create it all for free on ChatGPT tomorrow.
Yeah.
And so
the rise of AI and making it so much easier lessens the value of it. Yeah.
So I think that's what, if I were a business owner, that's what I'm thinking about right now, is how am I creating trust in my marketing with my consumers and my prospects? If I'm not doing that, if all I'm doing is just creating awareness, that's increasingly less valuable by the minute.
Yeah. Uniqueness has to be in marketing too. You've got to be different, because if you put 20 tennis shoe ads out there and they're all, they kind of look the same. Oh, that's Nike, that's Adidas, and they kind of all fall, right?
Yeah, you got to be different. But I think the subtlety is, we've been saying that for years. You got to be different. You got to have a differentiator. But I think what we're saying now is they don't believe it. When you say I'm different, they don't believe you anymore, right? The consumers don't trust anything. They don't trust politicians. They don't trust institutions. They don't trust the news stations. They don't trust the ads. And so not only do you have to be different, but you've got to find a way to establish trust with people. And that's key, because you tell them I'm better, and they say, well, everybody says I'm better. You tell them I'm different, I'm cheaper, or I've got a new feature. Everybody else says the same thing. And frankly, there's so much that's just made up. Chris and I were talking about that this morning. We were laughing about these ads we're seeing on Instagram where you can put these things on your feet, and it's supposed to like suck all the toxins out, or you put it in water. And the ads are clearly AI generated. It's not real. They don't look like real feet. I don't know if I can trust this. I used to be able to trust video, right? People could lie in print media, but they couldn't lie with a video. Well, now I can't trust video. And so even though those guys are saying, here's how we're different, look what we're doing, we're going to take all this toxins out of your body, and you're going to sleep better and do all that, I don't know if I can trust it. And so that's where marketing with convictions and marketing to your tribe and building trust is so important, because you've got to somehow cross that barrier from everybody else that's out there.
Yeah.
And so that's the case we're making here. That's so important, I think, for businesses in the next few years.
Be a different differentiator with conviction and trust. Just don't be different, but add the conviction and trust, which you guys do. Love it.
Yeah.
It's I'm all in. Raising my hand, guys. I'm all in.
Well, good.
I love it.
Well, you absolutely, to establish some trust, we give away our book. So anybody on your show ought to check it out. They can go to libertyspenders.com/servantsheart, and they can get a free book.
We just want to get this in the hands of as
Yeah.
many business owners as possible. You can do any of these things on your own. You do not ever need to talk to us or work with us. And so we hope that adds value.
Well, it does. And in the servant's heart, give stuff away free. I told you that before. And an audience,
Yeah.
how many times have I said, give your IP away because they're going to need you eventually or want to grow with you. You can only hit a certain point. So thank you for doing that. I really appreciate it. Audience thanking them by getting the darn book because I'm going to get the book. Let's end with a fun question. I want to learn a little bit more about both of you. So I'm going to start with you, Kurt, and give Chris an advantage because she'll know the question. So I've got a reservation at a restaurant, table of 4. You're going to sit in one of the chairs. You get 3 empty chairs. Who would you invite, whether they're dead or alive, and what food would you order?
Well, you know, I feel like saying I try to pick people that aren't, you know, I feel like the obvious answer, of course, having been being a person of faith, I'd want Jesus. But let's set that aside because I think maybe
let's make him the 4th chair. We'll add a 4th chair for him.
And frankly, Jesus is here with us right now. So
That's
I don't
right.
need
Amen.
Amen to that. There you go.
But I'm a JohnD.Rockefeller is the first answer. I love him. He is, speaking of somebody who created something, who walked into an industry and saw what could be done and consolidated and went from quite literally nothing to the richest man in the world. I would love to just hear him tell his version of how all that went down. I think John D is probably somebody who eats a lot of plain food. So we'd probably go pretty plain, meat and potatoes with John D, I think. And then I have another seat, right? So I think if I love this era, of folks, these kind of post-Civil War, kind of pre-World War I, business barons. So, and I don't know how much they would enjoy having lunch with each other. Maybe they've been long dead, so they've forgiven and moved on. But I think I'd love Cornelius Vanderbilt right next to him. Because there's 2 guys who built amazing things, very different personalities. John D, like me, like a fervent Baptist. Cornelius Vanderbilt was famous for getting in fights with people. I mean, they're very different personalities, and I think they'd be cool to have them both at a table.
And Chris?
Yeah, good answer. Okay, so 4, Kurt and I are 2 of them, or we're accepting that we would want our Lord
You get
and
1
Savior,
chair, 2 chairs.
have a conversation there.
Couple's got to be there.
This came to me. I didn't even need the head start. Harriet Tubman and Margaret Thatcher. Those are 2 absolute heroes of mine. Harriet Tubman has been a hero of mine since I was a little girl. I made like a board game I was trying to make about everything she's done. I've read a lot about her. My daughter has Harriet as her middle name. I just think the courage that she had to escape slavery and to go back and back and back and help people, free more people, I think is just absolutely remarkable. She's an incredible woman. And man, Maggie Thatcher, I mean, who wouldn't? I mean, she's a tough lady, and I'd love to have a conversation with her. And she, paved the way and really showcased feminine strength, and I think would be a remarkable person to talk to.
Talk about conviction. 2 unbelievable convicted women. What are they eating?
Oh, goodness. You're right. I got caught up on the people.
Yeah.
Golly, I don't know.
What do you like?
Yeah.
What pops in your head?
Well,
The food you like?
Maggie Thatcher's is British, right? So she'd do bangers and mash.
Yeah.
I just gonna say bangers and mash.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Yeah.
That's a pretty smart guy you're married to. I like that. That's
I know.
Cool.
See how he just bailed me out there? He's great for that.
Teamwork makes the dream work. Well, I want to thank you. This has been much better, bigger, more powerful show. And it usually happens that way with great people. So I want to thank you guys so much for taking the time. But I know people listening are going, how can I get Liberty Spenders? I'll have the link in there, but how can they reach out to you?
Well, really, that landing page is going to give you all the resources you need,
Yep.
libertyspenders.com/servantsheart. And from there, if you want to book a call, you want to talk more, we're happy to help. We're happy to just listen, spitball ideas, but there's also plenty of things and resources here. So you can investigate for yourself, see if it makes sense, and execute it yourself.
Yeah. We also work with people not to discount that Kristen is providing a lot of value here, but we also are happy to work with people. And you can also find our podcast on
Yes, thank you.
Apple. It's called Liberty Spenders.
You can find it anywhere. But
Yeah, it's on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, Rumble, and we interview business owners who kind of reflect this whole idea of marketing to Christians and conservatives, our Liberty Spender audience, or we sometimes put on subject matter experts who have things of value to offer to our audience. And so I think we have some really cool interviews on there. We have Trump's former campaign manager, Steve Green, the CEO of Hobby Lobby, which was an amazing episode, and got Chris and I a little teared up.
Yeah,
on
you
that
made
one.
me cry.
And check that out too.
Yeah, we just got a Hobby Lobby we're in our location. So it's funny you just mentioned that, the coincidence.
Amazing. Well, the family, the work they've done with Museum of the Bible is amazing.
Amen. Yeah. Amen. Thank you both. This, again, I'm bringing you back. I'm putting it out there on recording. They're coming back for part 2 because there's a lot more we need to talk about and delve into. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. And here's why. This is a gift. You listen to this show and you go, my friend's he loves God. He's got a conviction of doing right things. He's conservative. He needs help. Well, just share this podcast. It's the most wonderful gift. That's what I think podcasts are. Because if he listens or she listens and maybe reaches out, gets the book and changes their life, and they start growing their business and they start serving other people, can't find a better gift than that. So thank you all. Me and Chris and Kurt want to thank you all for watching or listening to this podcast. And we'll see you all in the next episode of Doing Business with a Servant's Heart. Have a great day, everyone.